Hello, and welcome to Conscious Curiosities, where we unlock the wisdom of the universe which lies within us. I'm Maria Luz, your host, an astrologer, certified hypnotist, and psychic medium. On today's episode, we are talking about the ascendant. And the ascendant in your birth chart is also known as your rising sign. And why it matters on a day to day basis is that the ascendant in the birth chart describes how you instinctively interact with the environment. And because it's instinctive rather than conscious, others may perceive you differently than you consciously feel. And I find that the ascendant or the rising sign, it varies in how prominently it's expressed because if you think about it, your environment also varies. And so, for example, in new situations, your conscious mind doesn't have any data yet. So it just reverts back to its instinctive and unconscious characteristic energy. But in more familiar environments, you're able to consciously choose which energies are expressed in behavior. Or quite often, what happens is your subconscious chooses for you because your subconscious, again, it's been gathering all this data. So it has a familiar repertoire to apply to that situation. So you can see how, conditioning would override the instinct or the conscious choice in environments that we return to often, such as home or school or work. So it has, to me, it really unlocks this mystery of maybe some incongruence with how you feel and how you behave. And therefore, it impacts your external world a lot. So to me, it seems beneficial to at least understand how you're coming across to others in these new environments or even in those familiar ones where you have the script running that override your instinct or your conscious choice. And so being unaware on that vein could put you or keep you into unwelcome situations or even harmful situations. And like I said, it really does impact your outer world. And just as a little example, I have Scorpio as my rising sign. And so in new situations, I use Scorpio because we're in Scorpio season. And I think it's in a lot of people's consciousness. But my instinct is to be very wary and maybe suspicious almost. However, my Leo sun wants to be playful. So I can remember many times as a kid when I would find myself really on the outskirts, sad, that I was missing out on the fun that the other kids were having. But on the converse, I could see how someone having a really gregarious rising sign and maybe a more self protective sun sign could put them in these situations where they're really in over their heads. There will always be a component of the ascendant that is unconscious. And so, because of that, it brings this vulnerability to our lives. But the question is, will we accept that vulnerability with humility and have the intention to learn the inherent lessons of our ascendant, or will we resist? And I'll discuss this larger question and significance in a little bit. So, first, the nuts and bolts. And I wanted to do a little bit of the astronomy. And so this explanation I'm going to read comes from astro.com, where they have a wiki that's super helpful if you haven't found it yet. Okay, it says the ascendant is the point of intersection between the eastern horizon and the ecliptic. Due to the rotation of the Earth around its own axis, this means that viewed from any given location, roughly every 2 hours, a different sign of the zodiac ascends on the eastern horizon. This causes the ascendant to traverse the whole of the zodiac during the course of a day. Two individuals born at the same time but at a great distance from each other would have different signs on the ascendant. So, as it said, that the ascendant sign, the, yeah, the ascendant changes sign approximately every 2 hours. So, if you kind of look at the math, there's 24 hours in a day and there are 12 signs. So, that's how you get that math. But it does vary by, I checked, and it can vary by 30 minutes in either direction. So the ascendant and then the other major angles, they also determine the placement of all of the planets in the 12 houses of the zodiac. And just as a reminder, those 12 houses represent different areas of life. And this is why astrologers hound you for an exact birth time in advance of a reading or a consultation. And if you don't have your birth time, I mean, we can still do the reading, and there's still information that we can glean just from the aspects that the planets have to one another, but it's just not nearly as comprehensive. So, everyone put your Scorpio detective hat on and track down your birth time. And again, if you don't have it, you can try to look online for the county or the hospital you were born at, and try to obtain it from them. If and sometimes there are baby books or things that the mother keeps. So that's another avenue. So now I will talk a little bit about why it matters on a big picture basis. Uh, it's the ascendant is also said to indicate your life's path, which sounds pretty significant to me and pretty big picture. And in the lineage of evolutionary astrology that I practice, the ascendant and the other angles correlate to the current evolutionary intentions of the soul. And aside from the rising sign itself, whether there are planets in the birth chart making aspects to the ascendant, and then the planets that are placed in the first house, which the ascendant is the cusp of, and also the location and the aspects to the planetary ruler of the rising sign. Those are all significant to the interpretation of the ascendant in the life and in the soul's plan. And just thinking about those birth chart placements, you could also see why transiting planets that make aspects to the ascendant can really impact your life's path as well. So that's another way that the ascendant gets interacted with throughout your lifetime. And sometimes those transits, especially by something like Pluto, because Pluto represents transformation and it moves so slowly, those transits can be very they're usually years, because it'll move forward and backwards, as we've seen it do lately in Capricorn, and then dipping in Aquarius and going back. So it can do that same kind of dance over your ascendant, either in right on top of it, which would be, the conjunction, or in kind of a harder angle, a square or an opposition. And that can really change you in fundamental ways. And therefore, you can see how it would also change your life path, and maybe not, it wouldn't really change your soul's plan, but it could change the manner or the pace at which your soul's plan manifests. And the planetary ruler, as I mentioned earlier, that also plays a key role and will impact your life. Um, Maybe at its most basic, it brings the features of the house and the sign that it's located in into your behaviors in some manner. And how it is situated with relations to the angles and the other planets will also have some significance in the major themes of your life. And those things are the type of nuance that you can delve into with an astrologer in a reading, or even as you continue learning on your own. And next, I thought I would just go through sign by sign to give you a little flavor of what each ascendant looks like. And per usual, I'm turning to astrologer Stephen Forrest, because I just find his books they're really kind of college 101 level where you're kind of doing a survey of something, and they're easy to kind of grasp onto the core concepts. So he outlines the energies of each ascendant and rising sign. While he writes about 4 paragraphs for each sign, I'm only writing a few sentences. So please take that as just just a warning that there's always more to it, and I highly recommend his books if you're learning astrology to follow the link that I'll put in the show notes. And he does have one on each element. Okay, so I attempted again just to pull out the gist of what he wrote for each sign. So beginning with Aries, this is about learning how to be effectively assertive in skillful ways. And people may perceive you as straightforward or even aggressive. And in unfamiliar situations, you tend to exhibit more bravery than you may actually feel. Taurus, this is about learning the true value of comfort and security. People may see you as earthy and natural, secure as you are. In unfamiliar situations, you may play it very safe and feel like you aren't able to try anything new because it would be too risky. Gemini, this is about exploring where your curiosity takes you and using this to connect to others and find your authentic voice. People may perceive you as an easy talker, interested in a variety of topics. In new situations, it may feel like you are compelled to fill in blank space with words or distractions. Cancer, this is about exploration of your healing abilities via caring or protecting others, knowing how to nurture yourself and finding a harmonious approach with these instincts. People may perceive you as having a huge capacity for nurturing as well as being sensitive. In new circumstances, you may alternate between rushing in to nurture others or being in a self-protective mode, depending on the situation. Leo, this is about allowing your authentic self-expression to come out and play. People may perceive you as confident, able to take and apply the spotlight. In unfamiliar environments, you may slip into playing the role you think others want to see rather than showing how you feel. Virgo, this is about finding a path of meaningful service, work that matters. It will involve discernment, exploring what brings meaning to the self, where it intersects with the highest good of the collective. People may perceive you as willing to be of service and wanting to make sure everything is the best it can be. And in new environments, you may zero in on the things that could be improved in the situation. Libra, this is about learning about alliances and deep harmony. People may perceive you as very pleasing and aligned with them. In new circumstances, you may seek harmony as a priority, even if that hides what you are really feeling. Scorpio, this is about exploring one's honest desires and understanding others as well, even if that means going where most do not wish to proceed psychologically. People may perceive you as intense and having the capacity for difficult conversations. In new situations, you focus intently on reading the room, alert for things that are not what they appear to be. Sagittarius, this is about continually expanding your horizons with travel and learning, coming up with a philosophy of life that feels natural and fair. People may perceive you as larger than life, always ready to amp things up, including having sweeping conversations. In new situations, you may appear to know it all, being generous in every way, but hiding any subtleties of your character. Capricorn, this is about defining a prize worthy of attaining and then to keep your eye on it, pursuing it relentlessly. People perceive you as serious and mature. In unfamiliar situations, you may take an authoritative or businesslike approach, feeling that extraneous activity is a threat. Aquarius, this is about learning to be comfortable with all your quirks and express your ideas, no matter how different. And people may perceive you as unusual or eccentric in some way, or wanting to stand apart. And in new situations, you may feel compelled to rebel against whatever agenda is being made primary, or to remain distant. And you may have strong feelings for what could be possible. Pisces, this is about exploring consciousness, your own, and how we are all connected to one another and the universe. People may find you hard to pin down, but agree that you are kind. In unfamiliar circumstances, You may simply go with the flow, surrendering to the whole experience and to people's energy. You may sense whether there is the presence or absence of an underlying deeper meaning. I hope this information inspires you to continue learning the ancient practice of astrology and applying it to your own life. And I've also created some free reference tools on my Substack, which you could save to your phone for easy reference. And they are, um, I just call them astrology basics. And there's one on the signs, the planets, and the houses. And with that, I hope you now feel empowered to be consciously curious about the ascendant. I will put the ways that you can support me in the show notes. That includes becoming a client. I would love to do an astrology consultation, or I offer now inspired guidance sessions where I combine astrology and psychic and mediumship and uh, anything else that any other wisdom that is coming in from either your guides or my guides, to help you with whatever is on your heart and on your mind. I thank you so much for listening, and I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you so much again. Bye bye.